it's quite important to mention the balance of risk. Balance of risk. If you're a gardener and you're self-employed, if you can go around somebody's house into their garden and not come anywhere near...
If there's a side
it's absolutely fine. They're getting a form of exercise, which is completely recommended. The garden's getting done. There's no reason a gardener can't go to work. In that situation. However, if he's travelling by public transport, he shouldn't be going to work. He's unlikely to be. He's likely to have his own van. As long as he's not sharing that van with anybody else, that's fine. So there is a balance of risk in all these things. What we really are concerned about is public transport. We mustn't have those scenes that we see on the Central Line where people are crammed in together, transmitting the virus potentially very easily.
What about cleaners? I've listened to a really interesting lady who runs a cleaning company on the way into work this morning, so it's about 4 o'clock in the morning, it's very, very early, talking about the fact that she wants to go and look after the vulnerable. So what they're doing is the vulnerable people are going to a different part of the house. She's going around cleaning the house for them, so they're staying away from them because they need... the elderly or whatever, they need to have help cleaning their homes.
And also bringing supplies at the same time, aren't they? A lot of cleaners are doing that too.
I think this is a really tricky one. Most people should, unfortunately, cancel their cleaners. Cleaners are going to different homes. They're touching different things. I know they're using cleaning and sterilising fluids, but they're bringing things in on their clothes, on their equipment, and it's this passage of people from one person to another that we need to discourage. We've cancelled our cleaners with regret because they're brilliant and we need them.
We're at home now and we can do it, aren't we? That's the point.
Actually, but there are people we can do our own cleaning.
But there are people that can't, Hilary, and I think that was
absolutely. Well, if they need help for other things, that's different. If they're vulnerable and they need care and they need deliveries, that's it. But that's not cleaning. So cleaning at the moment should be postponed, and people should be doing as much as they possibly can their own cleaning. But I think
what about
the bottom line
an elderly person who struggles physically with that, but is worried about their home getting into
it's a balance again.
State,
it comes down to balance of risk. What's more important, to have a spotless home or to be exposed to the virus?
Well, what do you think more important is?
Well, you mustn't be exposed to it. If someone's vulnerable at risk, they're very vulnerable to this nasty virus.
Ruthie says, I'm a foot health practitioner who's temporarily stopped working. How can I donate unopened boxes of gloves to frontline workers? A lot of issues about getting all the important equipment that we need to the NHS, to frontline workers, not just them as well. Hilary, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think contact the local chief executive of a local hospital and ask how they can donate those gloves. They'd be very useful. Equipment's in short supply. Anything very valuable. But I would think start with the chief executive of the local hospital.
Alan says he's a hay fever sufferer. He often has a dry, chesty cough, a sniffy nose, and sometimes a higher than normal temperature. How are people like him supposed to tell if they're presenting coronavirus symptoms or the usual hay fever problems?
The interesting thing about hay fever is it doesn't give you a fever. It's a complete misnomer. It doesn't give you a fever, whereas coronavirus often can. And one of the cardinal symptoms to look for with coronavirus is a fever over 38 degrees and a dry, persistent cough, which is new for you. So if you've got those two symptoms, you need to self-isolate. But hay fever is coming in now. People are getting a bunged-up nose. That isn't often a symptom of coronavirus. So if you haven't got the two cardinal symptoms of cough, which is new, and fever, you carry on as normal.
One tricky one here, Adrian. Can I still push my neighbour to the local shop in his wheelchair? We live in the same apartment block, but not the same household. Invaluable service he's offering, but is it too dangerous?
Yeah, absolutely. It's close contact, of course. We don't know the reason for being in a wheelchair. You have to look at whether he's in a vulnerable group or an at-risk group. If he's not in either of those, there's no reason they can't go together to the shop. But if he's in one of those groups, the vulnerable group or the at-risk group, he should really get deliveries brought to him without going to the shop at all.
And if you can help us here, Ben, there's thousands of worried partners with girlfriends and wives who are pregnant. She's self-isolating, they've been told to self-isolate for 3 months. I still have to go to work, though. I'm really worried because in the current pandemic, should I be going to work? Am I putting my wife and unborn baby at risk? I'm struggling to sleep at night. I'm not sure what the situation is. Surely the government should allow pregnant women's partners to also be in 3 months isolation.
We've had so many similar to this, Hills. Clear it up for us.
Let's put this to bed. OK, so your partner's pregnant. She is in a vulnerable group. Not because we know that pregnant women are particularly vulnerable to this virus. There's no great evidence that they are, in fact. But as an extra precaution, because they have an unborn baby as well as themselves, it is being advised that they regard themselves as in a vulnerable group and socially isolate as much as possible, physically distance as much as possible. Now, for partners of people like that, they can still go to work. If they haven't got symptoms, they live in the same household, they don't need to incarcerate themselves for the duration, which might be 3 months.
Do they need to separate from their wife or
No,
girlfriend?
they don't. If they haven't got symptoms, you know, they're sharing kitchens, they're sharing bathrooms, they're sharing the same bed. You know, they can't be expected to distance themselves for that period of time. It's all about a balance of risk so they can continue to work, provided they go to work and physically distance themselves from their colleagues at work. Their risk is small. Their risk is small of bringing the virus back and giving it to their partner.